Hello everyone! In this video, I'm going to talk about how I made this suitcase card box. Most of you know I've been working on a graduation party for my daughter, working on her senior table, senior board, graduation centerpieces, all kinds of great stuff for this graduation. And the suitcase card box, it was next on my list. Everybody knows that seniors get a lot of greeting cards at their graduation party, and having a great place to put them and take care of them and keep them under safekeep is an important thing to do and plan when you're having your party. So we decided that we would collect cards in this suitcase card box. You can find these suitcases everywhere. You'll see them at Hobby Lobby, Michael's. I got mine at Ross, and Amazon has some really great choices too. So I'll link you over to my blog page where you can find those kind of links. But anyhow, this was the one that I picked. And one of the things you'll notice on the suitcases is that on the inside, often they're pretty plain. This one's plain black. It wouldn't look all that great without taking a few minutes to add some decorative touches. And so what I'm planning to do is take some foam core and put it inside the box, and I can wrap around some fabric and really bring out some color. So I'll just size out this foam board, and then once I get that trimmed down, I can cover it with this great fabric that is in the theme of our party. I'll get that all covered, and then I'll set it right inside this box. So you'll be able to see how that's really going to add a lot of flair. All right, so I did go ahead and pre-cut this fabric to be just a little bit bigger than my foam core that I pre-measured out to fit inside the suitcase. So you'll see about maybe 1.5 inches around each side of the foam core. And I've got a hot glue gun here, and I'm just lining this foam core with the hot glue gun. So I'm just doing one side at a time. This glue cools off very quickly. So I'm getting one side marked and then pulling up that fabric. Be really careful not to burn your fingers. I always use something to press down other than my hand because that glue will come through the fabric. And then just get that one side down and firm. And then once you've got that one side, you're ready to move on and do that to the next. And then just keep working your way around that foam core until you get all 4 sides done. When you get to the corners, you just have to kind of finagle it just a little bit because you don't want the fabric poking out. So you kind of have to fold it around a little bit to make sure that it's not going to be peeking out of the side. And just do a quick inspection and make sure that you don't have any big wrinkles, that you were pulling that fabric tight when you glued it down. So once you get those done, you can go ahead and put them into the suitcase. If you measured that and cut that right, you probably don't even need to tape it or glue dot it into your suitcase. I really cut mine to be tight so it would fit in there snug. I can even close that lid and that will not come out. That's what I'm showing you right here. But if you do need to tape it, if you cut it a little too small, don't waste the foam core. Just use some big glue dots or even hot glue that right in. So I am going to hang up some letters that I cut with my Cricut. So I just cut the letters for cards, C-A-R-D-S. And you can even see that on my computer when I use my Cricut machine. If you don't have a Cricut machine, and you do crafts, you should really think about it. I'm using mine all of the time for projects like this, not just for letters, but for any kinds of shapes and tags and things like that. So I got my letters cut and I just poked a hole in them with my, actually with one of my Cricut tools, and then just threaded some twine through those letters and kind of strung them up so that I could then hang that string of letters up into my the lid of my card box. And I didn't really worry too much. Like right here, you see the letters are all kind of together. The main thing that mattered as I was getting started is that I had the the draping right on the string, and I knew I could come back and kind of move those letters around once I got a little bit further. So I just used a glue gun and I put a big dot of glue up in one corner and just press that twine into that glue because I knew I just wanted to kind of drape those letters across the top. And so I really just did it on each side. And again, you have to be so careful because that glue is really hot. And as you start trying to get it into place, a lot of times you want to use your finger, and that's where you run into trouble. So you'll see I'm just getting that on both corners. And this is really the part you want to really check on because you want to make sure you know how far down you want your string to be. And then that way you're putting that twine, the other end of it, in the right spot on that corner. Because once you have that right, then you can just move the letters around a little bit to make sure they're spread out appropriately. So anytime you thread something, if you just poke one hole, you're never really going to get it to lay completely flat. So when you look here, you kind of see these letters are poking up at an angle. If I would have poked two holes to thread each letter through, I could have made these sit flat. So in hindsight, probably would have been easier just to poke the two holes. But really all it means is I'm going to need to do something to try to glue those letters down so they are a little bit more flat. And to do that, I'm just going to use glue dots. I use them for everything. And I'm just going to stick a glue dot on the back of these letters so that they come down. Now, I do want to point out, I'm doing this. Later, you're going to see that I made a change. And if you look at these letters on here, they just don't really pop. Like I think they look cute, but I just don't think the letters really pop out enough, especially with the pattern behind it. So later you're going to notice all of a sudden magically there are some gold squares behind each of these letters. I didn't even thread those gold squares. I just glue dotted the letters right onto those squares without like poking holes and trying to get the thread through it. It actually turned out to be something I could do really quickly, and I think it made it look a lot cuter, added a lot more color. And ta-da! Here are the gold squares that I was just talking about. So I don't know what you think. I just think it really made the letters show up a lot better to have that second background behind the letters. My final touch on my suitcase card box is this cute little thank you tag that I decorated with ribbons and cut out letters from my Cricut. And it's just really a message to the guests saying, thank you. Thank you for the card. Thank you for coming to my party. And it just adds a great extra look to the card box. So that's it. This is my card box. I didn't spend a whole lot of time on it, but I do think adding, the decorative touch and the letters and the messaging just really helped to personalize this and make a great place for people to leave graduation cards for my daughter. So I hope it gave you some help today or some ideas. If you found anything that was helpful, please take just a second to like the video and subscribe to my channel. Thanks.